you mentioned talking tribal. I kind of expect people from Algorand to be a little bit tribal, though. I think that's okay. But along those lines, interesting that you mentioned Lehman Baird, because HBAR is another chain that we're pretty big on here on this channel. Do you see? I almost see them as maybe complementary isn't the right word, but kind of like-minded. Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, so I think they have a different philosophical outlook maybe on the architecture of their consensus.
Right.
But there's no doubt to me that they have some very, very bright people working on that product. Lehman and I chat, and we've chatted a few times one-to-one. And he has some very interesting ideas about where to take things. And I think you can watch this space for things that we might do in 2024. I think there's some exciting stuff coming up there.
Nice. I like
Um,
that.
yeah. And so I can't spill too much. I do have some spicy alpha for you, actually. I've got one thing that is not known yet that I can give you a date for a release of something exciting, maybe towards the end of the show or whatever. But yeah, I can't go too much into that yet. But there's some exciting stuff coming up in Interrupt. Yeah.
Nice. Well, keep watching, guys, because we're gonna get some alpha here on the end of the show from John. And remember, you can leave your questions in the chat. We got a lot of chats though, so super chats are going to be prioritized. I don't know how much we're going to get through. We're going to try to leave a little time at the end for that. But you mentioned intellectual honesty before earlier in the show, and well, one of the most intellectually dishonest videos I saw about Algorand came from Invest Answers. It frustrated me because I watched his intro was about 5 minutes of him talking about how honest he is and how he just sticks to the data, and then he started bringing up the points about the CBDCs, and I have concerns about CBDCs too. So
Yeah, me too.
I almost thought well, maybe
I'm in a Monero shirt. Like I'm in a Monero shirt.
There you go. Monero,
I'm not a CDBC guy.
Yeah. So anyway, I was thinking, well, maybe this guy will have some points after all, Then he started on the Algorand stuff, and it was like, wow, dude. I mean, just major data manipulation, ignoring, cherry picking his data, like one of the worst videos I've seen. And then you mentioned slaughtering his FUD, and in an ode to his amount of intellectual honesty, he says, "See, he wants to slaughter me."
I know. It's pathetic. But I watched that video. Even the cadence in his speaking is funny. I watched it with some friends. We had a laugh. There's people out there whose entire business, their livelihood, is built on a narrative. My livelihood is not built on a narrative. My livelihood is built on the success of a great product. And so I'm building something with the rest of the team at the foundation and at the technologies firm that's changing the world. What I'm not doing is trying to convince people of my view on things. And so that's the difference between someone like him and someone like myself. He has a line and he's got to toe it, whereas I just call it as I see it. And that's why I know some people were saying, why waste the time with these people? But I feel like calling out the shit is worth doing. And so like, I'm kind of, when I see some nonsense from some moron, I'm gonna take it up. I'm gonna hold it up to the light. I'm gonna show people how stupid it is, and then I'm gonna burn it because I think it needs to be done. And actually, the more I do this, the more I notice that we start to press people's buttons a little bit, and we start to make some noise. And I think it's kind of half the battle is kind of being relevant is being noisy.
No, I agree. There's a nutrition scientist named Layne Norton that I follow on Twitter, and people say like, well, why do you engage with these people who are saying these nonsense things about nutrition? He's like, well, because it's not for them, it's for the people watching. Because they know this BS is BS, And I kind of feel the same way. That's why I went after the Invest Answers video, because I'm like, I have to like pick this guy's. And by the way, I got through like 3 arguments because I'm like, oh, that's already going to take up like 20 minutes of video. Like I can't even go through the whole thing.
I seen your retort, and it was great. It was the best one that I'd seen actually. So thank you for doing it. People were saying, hey, John, can you do the retort? It takes forever to research every single point in a convincing way and hit back on it. And so we're doing a lot at the foundation. And to be honest, I'd have to take a whole day out to build a video that was coherent and was of a standard where people would be happy with it. And so I just didn't have the time to do it. But I was glad that you had done it. And so thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Frugal VC's got you covered.
Yeah, baby. Frugal VC.